All right, guys, I have a really awesome guest today for you. This is actually one of my students. He only joined us for a very short amount of time, but he is very smart in that he basically took as much information as he possibly could from our platform and his membership, and then just did the work. And so I really want to just push this out to you guys and restate this. I know I'm a broken record, and I've said this so many times, but my courses and my platforms and what I've built here, they're not magic. They don't do the work for you. You don't join Sync Academy or Sync Edge and then have your career handed to you. Basically it's a roadmap. It's sort of a guide for the work that you have to do and to get accepted. And this producer is Ilias Pantelius, and he's going to tell us about his story and how he got accepted to extreme music, which, if you guys are not aware, is pretty much the major leagues. So he went from not really having any experience in this business to going straight to top of the craft and top of the game. And so I really loved his story. He's been emailing me in the last couple months, letting me know that things are starting to solidify, and he was getting the contract ready. And so I could just feel the excitement and the energy in his emails. And I love getting those kind of emails. So once he had it all finalized and it's concrete and it's settled and he definitely has his contract ready to go, he wanted to come on here and share his story. So Ilias, thank you so much, man, for being with us today. Let us know a little bit
Thanks
about
a lot.
where you were before you got into sync licensing in your music career. What were you doing before you got into this stuff?
Well, to start from the start, I have always been in music, but I've never seen music. I never heard of music libraries. I've been in music since I started piano very early in my life. I was like 5, 6 years old. Then I continued with guitar and theoretical stuff. I don't know how to say it in English because I finished certain studies in Greece, like yes, guitar and piano and compositional stuff, let's say harmony and stuff. And then I went to Paris for musicology. And I finished musicology and then conservatorium in piano jazz. Plus, I was since the beginning I was producing for myself, for fun, learning things. And at the 19 years old, I I did my first album as a singer-songwriter. Then I wasn't calling myself a composer at all. And I did my first album, and I released it in Warner Music in Greece. No, it's not the American one, but the part in Greece. So I was never happy with this when this happened. I was 19. It was quite early in my career. I was still evolving so much, changing, learning so many things. So I left it behind, even though it was not professional at all for me. But at the other hand, it was great to know that I can stay, work, finish something. What you always also say to all the producers, like when I was 19, I said to my parents, like, for 6 months, I'm not going to the university. I'm going for 6 months to finish my album. And can you help me? And hopefully they did. And 6 months later, I finished it, and I started with nothing, knowing no one in Greece. I started just sending it, and it happened that. So this gave me huge amount of confidence that not for the not it's not about succeeding, it's but mostly about knowing you can discipline yourself, study, uh, put things you have to do, and advance your work and have it, finish it. So well, after this, I started experimenting with many other styles of music. The first album was mostly pop stuff, acoustic pop. Then I started experimenting with more genres that I found in France, like mostly world music things, and I was playing in bands, jazz stuff, even more electronic stuff also again. But I was I was quite lost for many years in France, and I was trying so hard. I was at the same time to live my life. I was producing for others. I was mostly like a sound engineer, even for small projects. In the start, I was doing it for my friends, till my parents were still sustaining me for some years. And then when I couldn't have anymore this help, I have to tell to my friends, like, start paying me some stuff. I cannot do this for free forever. So little by little, I never studied this part in my life, but I became a professional by doing it, and also had some great experiences being assistant in big projects, which gave me a whole amount of information and shortcuts about how to do this better and what really matters at the end, because you can see 1,000 videos in YouTube like how to do this, how to do this, but there are so many things that, well, they say the same stuff. But another thing that I really like in your videos, even though I I am in a different genre from what you are proposing, but um, it's excellent that you are saying exactly, at least from my point of view. I Even though I knew most of these things, they were so structured, well structured, that it really helped me to see, like, okay, I had to change my workflow because I'm not working anymore for a song. I'm working for a composition because somebody is going to put this inside his film, and it has a practical use inside to evoke the emotions, and everything has a different impact. Thinking like, okay, I'm going to just do beautiful music on the radio, and here there's different connection. So after this, I started. The only experience I had before entering this and finding by accident your courses on the internet, on the it was I worked with some big productions in Greece as an assistant of the composer and a mix engineer for some big films, but there were custom jobs from the start. So this was also very interesting because um, and for some in Turkey also, I think in France once also. Um, but all this stuff for me, where I was doing my job, I was trying to learn at the same time, like how the composer thinks, how this guy who is so successful has thought this scene. So this was also a very big lesson. And after that, in the last I think last February, last January, I fell accidentally on your course and started looking at your videos, and I became obsessed with this idea, like what is the libraries, how this work. And I was really searching for something because I wasn't happy as how can I say this, singer songwriter. And I have tried so much in France. This period also, I forgot to mention that I came back in Greece. It was like 1.5 years ago. I came back in Greece because I was really still here in France. It was really difficult, really hard. I was working as hell just to pay my rent, and I couldn't make it. I have failed, let's say. I can say it like that. It's not a problem. And coming back here, the only strategic thing I was thinking was mostly that I had a house that I didn't need to pay a rent, and I could build a studio that I wouldn't be afraid that at the end of the month they will take it away because I cannot pay my rent or something. So I had all the time to work on my work and how to make it financially, um, and not how just to work for others and don't have time to advance my work. So I fell in on your courses and I started watching everything from YouTube. After I have watched, I think, nearly every video again and again and again. And then I said, okay, I have to subscribe inside the courses and really study this till the every sorry for the word, F detail I can learn. Um, so the month I subscribed for 1 month because I really had no money. That was my main problem. I had no money to spare and had be able to start, let's say, even have the possibility to stay 3 months there. So I said, in 1 month, I really have to find everything I can. So I was staying night and day. I was sleeping maybe a few hours, trying to learn everything you put inside your website and your courses, and watch also Mike's videos, Mike Genato. And I think I remember that last year I was also putting so many questions. Must be annoying. I don't know if you remember a guy that was really annoying your website. It must be me.
Definitely not annoying.
So,
There's definitely some students that are more boisterous than others, and they have a lot of questions. But no,
yeah,
it's never annoying, and that's what Sync Academy is for. It's for people who have questions. So
yeah,
we do have a frequently asked questions page because a lot of times we'll get the kind of the same ones over and over
yeah,
again. So I do always
yeah.
point people there. Hey, we've answered that 1,000 times, but
Yeah.
That's what's so cool about the platform is that all these questions, and I'm about to do another Sync Edge Q&A actually in a little bit here, is I get fed all these questions and it makes me think more about this business of like, that's a really good question. I've never made a video on that. I've never thought about that.
Mm,
Or it just gets me going too. So it's actually a two-way beneficial thing. So, and it's not just me that helps out other people in Sync Academy. You have like so many members that are like, if you have a question, they jump in and help you out. They'll either point you to a tutorial, they'll let you know what they know, what their opinion is or what their advice is. But
yeah.
we have so many helpful members in there that it's created this really
Yeah.
cool, helpful community. So I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad that you got to see that for yourself when you were in there, man.
The funny thing is that I want to resubscribe now that I have started getting some consideration fees, just because I really like this helpful community. And many times other students responded me, and Mike responding sometimes. And it was really, and everybody. I would really like also to share also my point of view on certain things now that I have seen it from uh, started singing, because it's not the same. I haven't the album is going to be released soon. So what's my strategy? That's I think mostly what students might be interested how I made it. Well, for me, one part I didn't have to work so much was the technical part. So I didn't needed so much to. I already had theoretical knowledge. I was playing many instruments. I was a producer already professionally. So I was missing like how can I make a strategy that with I have to first of all, let's start from there. I bought also the list with all the libraries that you share there. So I went for after finishing your courses, and I reviewed each one of them. Each one of them I have one review inside alone, even though I knew you had also reviews. But I think I saw two or three, and I was trying, yeah, but Jesse is telling about how about his work, and mostly so I have to find my own how I review it, because each for each one what we think our weapons are and our strong points. That's why I see many videos that you upload that you say, well, there's no right library to each one for a different guy. So I found out three that were great for me. So the first one, without being sure, but I sent to Extreme Music. But what before arriving there, let's go back again and think about the strategy. Um, so after learning all these libraries and saying, okay, these three is where I'm mostly at, I stayed even more time to in the category I am to hear all the songs again and again and take them as a reference and study them and see how they structure, what kind of instrumentation they use, what kind of times they use. Um, Even though the production stuff that if we are in the industry, we know most of the let's say the VSTs that they might have used, the instruments and stuff. So after doing this, here comes the interesting part. I had a friend for many years that he was a cellist, and he's a cellist, of course, and he was playing a very rare instrument, which is called the Haldorophon. I think there are two in the world, three in the world. So Haldorophon became very, very famous with the film Joker. I don't know if you know with
Oh yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix. I think everybody have seen it because, well, the composer of this film, Hildur, she took I think the Oscar and the BAFTA awards, Emmy awards. She took in 1 year. She took everything. She really took all the awards this year. So I said, well, let's go in this category because I have already seen certain things, and I found it like a cool business plan behind. This is a very rare instrument that would be nearly the monopole because it's here in us. And with this colleague and friend now, we stayed for months. After all this period of studying, we stayed for I think 1 or 2 months, just experimenting and having the time to evolve our sound, because we were trying to study Hildur sound, and then we tried to find our signature sound so we can have whatever we thought was positive on Hildur's side and try to evolve it in even more stuff, how to be more accurate on the image and the feelings and the impact and the sentimental state, let's say, how it's going to change. So that was a great period because we're just watching movies from Netflix because we had a Netflix account, and we were saying, okay, this scene, stop it there. Let's try it over, see it again. What happened in the original film? Why he used this? Okay, look this. What could have been the brief for this guy who was composing it? So we try to think about a way that this how we can make fast a lot of songs very accurately in different all the how can I say this in English? Most of the different sentimental states we can evoke from this instrument. And we created the methodology also together about, it's much more complicated finally after it's not like Hildur sound that's mostly use the raw sound of the Haldoraphone. We try to put a lot of synth stuff after, and effects, not only effects, but it's also modulars, and many things are reacting also. That was great because with this instrument, if guys are interested to see, we have also created now a composer collective which is called brokenstringsmusic.com. So they can, if they want to check how it looks and how it sounds, they can go there in our website or check Hildur's side, or I think there is also haldoraphone.com if I'm not mistaken, or
if you don't mind, I actually want to dive into you submitting to those libraries. You kind of started talking about how you had the three picked out. Walk me through did like you submitted one at a time, and how did that work out? Like, which one was Extreme? Was it the first one, the third one? How did that work?
Was the first one. So okay. Extreme was the first one, and I really followed your advice. Like, my colleague was, as he haven't watched the courses, he was like very anxious, like, I have to send this three at the same time. I said, no. Jesse said, no, don't send all the tracks to the three because it's not professional. So yeah, we contacted Extreme. Well, it wasn't easy to find how to contact him because we don't have really somewhere to contact. So we really had to wait and find mails, and little by little we found. I think it took us 2 or 3 months. It was a really long process. So, and the funny thing is that the days we were thinking like, oh, screw that, let's go to another one. They're not responding, they're not answering the mails. They answered. They answered, and they said, oh, it's great, let's advance with getting the album. So, well, also another thing, at least I don't know for maybe smaller libraries, but at least with this one, it's we have submitted in October. They responded in end of December, and in the start of January we started speaking with them and having Zoom calls and all that. Till that the contracts were signed like 3 weeks ago. I think it's we are in the. It was, I think, either end of April, end of April. So it took us another 4 months to go away from the negotiation table, and it's not an easy process. You really have to be patient and wait each time to be very careful and all these things. But they were great. The great thing is that they were very helpful and being very open, very clear to what they do. We're really happy. So we don't really. For the moment, we are very happy, and we're going to see the result. Also, another important thing, when we found our methodology, since last April, that we have started working with my colleague, till the end of let's say the summer in August, we had 125 tracks. So we were really ready to see whatever they might need. And all these tracks, the great thing is that they are modifiable. There are many things that we can modify each time. So whatever they needed, or even they would say, okay, we don't like this, we don't like. Finally, they liked everything. They changed nothing in the songs. Just I had to export more stems, so they have different options, which is very logical. That's it for I don't know.
That's so much. Yeah, there's so many good things and so many nuggets in there that I wanted people to hear directly from you. And I don't, because I'm always talking about this stuff, and it's like I love it when other people can sort of echo it and say, no, this is what I've lived. So one of the things that I heard earlier on is you were talking about how you've changed how you perceive creating music, that you're now thinking about in terms of serving the needs of a scene or a mood or a library or whatever it is, right? And that was a little bit of a mental change you had to kind of do. And I think that's one of the first prerequisites for deciding if sync licensing is going to be in your future, is can you make that switch? Because a lot of producers can't. It's just too difficult, or they just kind of drag their feet and they're so used to doing things their way, or maybe like you said, in the pop artist radio way, that it's really hard to turn that off and kind of get into a different mood. So that was the first thing that obviously gave you a hint that there is a future for you, because you were able to make that mental switch, that creative switch, right? Secondly, you did it the smart way in terms of approaching libraries. You got educated. You knew how to send them a serviceable, useful email. You weren't just trying to make it all about me, me, me. You were really trying to say, we've checked you guys out. We've seen that this could be some music that could really be useful for you. You were also very patient. That's a long time to wait for a library to get back to you. I always recommend people 1 or 2 weeks, but you guys were actually even more patient because you felt that they would probably get back to you, and it paid off for you. So that's really awesome. So having that patience, right? Long term, not expecting something right away, knowing that this is going to be a long term play. That's another key thing, that if you don't have that, this business is just not going to work out. So you had that one. And then last is 125 tracks, man. That is like going up a mountain. That is so hard to do, especially when you don't have a contract, right? You don't have a library in your back pocket. You don't know for sure that these 125 tracks will ever see the light of day. And so you're basically walking in faith, and you're producing music in faith. And you and your partner are just like, we believe in ourselves. We think we've got something good here, and we're going to just be on a consistent schedule and crank out this large number of music, so that when we go to a library, we look that much more attractive because all the work's been done and they can just take it and put it in their catalog. So all of these skills or qualities or whatever you want to call them, these are the things that will allow you to have a long-term career. And I can obviously see a really bright future for you, because I think you've figured out so many things in such a quick amount of time. And you're also showing that you have a long-term mindset. So having all the knowledge, the skills that you gained, through Sync Academy, through the platforms, but then also your personal, work that you're doing, and your personal skills and your mental, switch that you've been making, that's really what's going to set you on your path. You have the skills and the knowledge, but there's a ton of my students that have skills and knowledge, and they don't do what you're doing, right? They don't produce music. They're not submitting to libraries. They're not putting themselves under a rigorous schedule to keep productive. So that's why I've always said it's not about my platform. It's not about what I teach. It's really about you and what you do with this information and this knowledge that you get. Hopefully you pick up some of those skills and some of that knowledge and do something with it, but it doesn't do the work for you. And obviously, man, you're proving it right here in front of everybody that like you did the work, and you're doing the work, and you're off to a great start in your career. So I want to thank you today, man, for taking the time to explain, your story, just sharing where you came from, where you are at now. Again, I think you have some awesome things ahead of you. You have some great placements that you're probably going to get fairly quickly with a large company like that. And the fact that you approach them with a sort of service mindset to kind of fill in a gap for them and really service them in a certain way. I see some incredible things for you, man. So I wish you all the best in your future career here.
Thanks a lot, Jesse, and wish luck to all the guys that they follow you.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. And I'm sure everybody appreciates you being here today, buddy. So best of luck to everything in your future.
Thanks a lot.